G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulated Podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. Okay, so getting back on track. The last 3 weeks have been quite difficult. There's been some little bright spots, don't get me wrong. There's been some good stuff, like at work Christmas party, that was fun. But in general, my mood has been flat to low. Lots of that anhedonia again, where you just don't really care about things that much like you used to or like you should. So not only have I felt flat because I feel weighed down. I feel like there's this big weight of expectation that is standing over me. And there is this whole getting a new job thing and the rest of the big ticket adult items, marriage, children, mortgages, all that great stuff, finances in general. These are questions, and unfortunately for me, haven't got answers or resolutions yet. And, what can I say? Another birthday's been and gone, 34 years old, and a lot of these questions still remain. And I would be lying if I didn't say that the pressure that these big ticket items are putting on is starting to get quite overwhelming. It is starting to get quite overwhelming. So when I do go into these more, flatter moods, that unfortunately opens me up for trouble. I become very vulnerable, not in a good way vulnerable, where you're, sharing things and, growing through that and all that sort of stuff. Not that sort of stuff. I'm talking vulnerable as in my mental defenses are down and then boom, my self-esteem's taking a hit. The inner critic is just emboldened and all those questions, where is she? Where is the house? Where are the kids? Where's the new job? That's the most pressing one. Those questions start to bite because I can't push back with that positive sort of reinforcement sort of stuff that I do want to be thinking about, because if I'm in a flat mood, well, my ability to conjure up some positivity is severely hampered. So when you've got a lot of things weighing on your mind, if you start to dip a little bit in mood, unfortunately that opens you up for a bit of trouble. And that's what's happened to me over the last 3 weeks. Once again, it's me. So anxiety has ruled the day. Anxiety has always been the driving force behind all of my negative behaviours and cognitions and emotions, and is doing it again. So these expectations are turning, or anxiety's using these expectations to then really hammer home the fact that, we should be stressed about things because we're not getting things done like we should, supposedly. So the anxiety has been very, very difficult to maintain and keep a hold of. Again, lots of sleeping in bed, staying in bed, but this time it's not good. It's not so much just because I'm tired. There were times there where I, didn't look at the phone for 3 days. Couldn't bear to open the phone because of all the nasty stuff that could be on there, all the things that might be needing my attention, but I'm unable to give it. So, Google Calendar, for example, I haven't used that much in the last 3 weeks because it's just been too scary. There's too much stress involved, too many expectations. It's killing me. So I feel like I'm getting very overwhelmed very easily. Even just the slight, thought about a task that I've got to do or an event that's coming up, even just thinking about it, and not even being near the position of actually completing it or being a part of it, just thinking about it, even if it's weeks away, is enough to send me tumbling, or it has been the last 3 weeks. So it's my ability to push back against the flood of stress, to keep those walls up nice and tight and the gates closed. Unfortunately, the floodgates have been opened, and as a result, I go into freeze mode. Remember, anxiety, there's fight or flight, which everyone knows, but there's freeze as well, which so many of us will be going, yeah, Elliot, yep, freeze. I do that too, because unfortunately a lot of us do, and I certainly do. So I've been in freeze mode a lot the last 3 weeks, and it's been hard because I've still got to get to work. I've still got to, maintain my standing in society. So, I've still got to be engaged in everything and trying to, work on the projects that I need to be working on. And it's just been so hard and so tiring. I haven't been in bed so much because I've been tired. I think it's more because I've just been so petrified of life and living the last couple of weeks. But at the same time, make no mistake, I've been very tired as well. And that's because that these expectations, to be able to try and push back and keep it all controlled and orderly and, not blow things out of proportion. That takes a lot of energy. And freeze mode, believe it or not, takes a lot of energy too, because just because you're in freeze mode doesn't mean you're in rest mode, that's for sure. Everything's still ticking a million miles an hour. It's just the system shut down as a safety precaution. But, we're still burning energy. So although, I wouldn't say I've been in bed a lot because of being tired, that's not to say I haven't been tired. I've been very fatigued. And it's these constant ruminations, these constant thoughts, these catastrophizing about things in the future that haven't even happened yet and may not happen, and these expectations of what should be happening right now but isn't. Very tiring stuff. So the stress builds because I'm in bed, I'm unable to actually complete these tasks I need to be doing, and that's what's happening. That's what's been happening. I haven't been able to. I haven't been checking my emails, and I've just looked now, and there's all this stuff that I've missed this week. Some great opportunities there, working on some grants for some research projects, and needed my reply on Thursday, and it's now, Friday night, and I've only just looked at the email now because I've been petrified of people's, not only expectations coming from within, although that's usually the main driver here, also the expectations that I believe other people have on me, which isn't necessarily, and I know this, I'm thinking with my wise mind, that, that isn't necessarily true. That's probably, that idea of these expectations is being fueled by this negativity that I've got. The inner critics coming up with all these little, these ideas of what people are expecting from me without there actually being much evidence of it. But it's so hard to pull away, even though I know it's not logical to, enmesh myself with that way of thinking, but it's still so hard to pull away and think logically and look at the situation as it is and proceed as we need to. Because a lot of this stress and expectations, it's not like I've got things due tomorrow. I'll wake up tomorrow, life goes on. It's not like world-changing things are happening right now and I should be prepared right this second. It's not. It's just this feeling that there's this impending doom, this catastrophe that's coming up ahead. And the thing is, with my anxiety, it's always telling me, any moment things could change. And what sucks? That's actually true. It is true. At any moment, anything could turn. Most people don't think about that. You block that out, You don't think about that potential for disaster and catastrophe in life. But it is a potential. And unfortunately, I'm well aware of that. And being aware of that and having the knowledge of the potential of devastation and all the bad things that can happen in a jiffy, in a flash, that knowledge is also quite fatiguing and stress-inducing. So as I said, there's been missed opportunities because of this, because I've been in shutdown mode. That includes, you may have heard me talking recently about this great TAFE event, a mental health fundraiser for Black Dog that I was a special guest. I was to present there as well and represent the Black Dog Institute, which I was looking very much forward to, and was going to do it with lots of pride and give it my best shot. Well, you'll never believe it, but yours truly had to cancel and didn't go because I just couldn't get out of bed. I just could not face it. It just scared me, thinking of the audience negatively judging me. I just kept thinking while I'm laying in bed, I'm going to stuff up the presentation, 10-minute presentation. I'm going to stuff it up. It's going to be embarrassing and I'm going to dwell on it. And the safer option is to not engage with it at all and just tell them I can't go and just not do it. So shy away from it, which is so disempowering. All that does is allows this anxiety to grow. It feeds on the fact that I didn't go out there and prove it wrong. It's like, we've got our grip on Elliot at the moment. We've got him. And that emboldens the anxiety and it disempowers me, the self, trying to push back against it and working out ways to push forward in the best way that I can. So that is a missed opportunity. And I'm just so disappointed because I was so looking forward to it. It's a great honour to be invited to these events, and especially as a special guest speaker representing the Black Dog Institute. In my world, that's as good as it gets, you know what I mean? And for me to miss that is just so disappointing. It's very upsetting. It is, because I don't know. I was really looking forward to that. I know the organisers were really looking forward to it, and I really feel like I let the team down, and it's a terrible, terrible feeling. And my anxiety It's in the background right now, clapping, going, ha ha, we got you, boy. We got you, high-fiving the inner critic, and OCD's there doing its thing with the constant ruminations. And, all these disorders, they're all high-fiving each other at present. But that's what it feels like. It's disappointment, and I don't know, I just feel bad, I feel guilty. And, me being me with my negative disposition for things in general, those feelings are amplified. And unfortunately, I've given these disorders some ammo to really amplify these feelings. And that really sucks. That really, really sucks, cuts deep. So 3 weeks I've been sort of shying away, not engaging properly, not getting things done. That includes podcast episodes as well. Again, my output, is very dependent on my mood. And it's slowed up a little bit the last couple of weeks because my mood has slowed down as well. So, again, there's that correlation there, or it's probably causation. The warning signs have been here, and I knew this was coming. And thankfully, I did do something which was good and forward thinking without catastrophe, which was put in for some annual leave at work. So this week at work, unfortunately, I missed 2 days because of just extreme fatigue, anxiety, all the stuff I've just been talking about. That's impacted my working life as well, which again is frustrating because it's the same job I've been doing for 8 years. And yet for some reason when I'm in these moods, working at Bunnings is the scariest thing in the world for me. I don't know. Yes, there's a lot of social interaction, but come on, we've been doing this for 8 years. The job isn't that different every day. I know what's coming. There's no need to be stressed, but that's the thing. When I get into these negative headspaces, this is what happens. These things that maybe I would push aside and say, there's no logic to that. I'm just going to give that thought the flick. These thoughts unfortunately hang around and they gain strength because I just don't have the strength to push back. So this week I missed 1 day at work and then another one I went in but had to go home after an hour. It's just been a mess. And I knew this was coming, and I've got annual leave booked in for next week and the week after, 2.5 weeks. Thank goodness. It's going to be a circuit breaker, and God, am I excited, and man, do I need it. Problem is, I probably did it a week too late. I needed to start it this week. This week's been, like I said, I've finished the week off pretty strong, but, the 2 days there missed was difficult, and the TAFE thing was, this week as well, started this week. There was a lot going on. And unfortunately, I think if I had the annual leave a week earlier, things might have been a bit different. But you can't plan for this. This is, in a perfect world, but you can't just say, right, I click my fingers, I'm going off. I'm off for a few weeks, see you later. But that is, in a way, sort of what I said. I said, I need to go off for a few weeks because I need some sort of circuit breaker. I need to recalibrate and get back on track here because, everything's sort of fallen by the wayside. I'm not going to the gym. I'm not running. My diet's improved, which is good. That's good. Even therapy lately, I missed a few sessions, partly because of finances, and also one of them was because I was just too overwhelmed and couldn't bear to talk about these sorts of things with somebody. So, therapy hasn't been locked in. There's a few things, a lot of life admin work needs a bit of work. And that's what this 2 weeks is going to be for, is to get back on track and get some of these fundamentals back in place. Like the gym and running, for example, are just so, like I said, fundamental to, me being healthy moving forward, physically, mentally, as part of my identity, to help my self-esteem, a natural antidepressant. There's so many good reasons to be doing it. But the thing is, because of my working 5 a.m. starts and then alternating with 9 p.m. finishes and, week to week alternating. And I'll be honest, like my body clock's never, feeling too crash hot. And they're probably not the best hours for someone like me with emotional dysregulation and bipolar disorder to be working. But, you got to earn a living. So you got to do what you got to do. Got to stay tough and just keep pushing when possible. But it is very hard to get these fundamentals locked back in when you sort of feel like you're being pulled from pillar to post all the time and you don't have any energy because you're always tired and go to work and I've got to have a sleep in the afternoon or else I'll be screwed for the next day. So I think for me to lock those fundamentals back in, I need this time off because I need to free up my day so I can really plan, right, we're going for a run. It's not going to go for very long, but that doesn't matter because we're just going to go for a run. Same with the gym. It doesn't have to be brilliant. Just get in there and spend half an hour. That'll do. Tick it off the list because then the dopamine will kick in and all of a sudden these old routines, these old habits will start to spring up again. And I anticipate that it won't take long for these fundamentals to lock back in again but I'm pretty sure I need this time away from work and just to clear up my calendar a bit to be able to do it. So that's what I'm doing. And so many good things will flow on from there. That's the plan. And then things like life admin, like I'm talking again, ADHD. So I'm talking cleaning my room, cleaning my car. Again, these things for anybody, especially if it's in the state my room's in, requires a lot of effort. But for someone with ADHD, these are huge events that we need to plan for. I'm cleaning my room. This is an all-day event. I've got to block it out. I've got to get the music ready. I've got to, get everything in place so I'm motivated, ready to go. To get these sort of fundamentals locked in, I need some days off from work just to give me a bit of breathing space so I can really get stuck into these basics. It's all about fundamentals. This 2 weeks, I should just call it, 2 weeks of fundamentals. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know what I mean? Like, it's all basic stuff. But for someone like me, it's so important. And unfortunately, life grinds you down a bit. You get a bit stressed, a bit anxious, and all of a sudden these good habits start to disappear. Then you're stuck feeling very, running very rough, needing recalibration, needing that wheel alignment to get back on track. Because I need to be doing all those things for me to be on track and to be able to achieve the things that I want to achieve. Because I do not like missing opportunities when I'm invited as a special guest representing the Black Dog Institute. I do not like missing Every Mind Institute meetings about lived experience in research and, potentially being a co-author on this paper. Missing these meetings because I'm petrified because nothing in my life's locked in and there's these big questions. And another big part of the 2 weeks is I'm going to have to do some journaling about these big ticket items and, just get them out of my head for a bit. So the plan is just write down all these fears and stresses that I've got, write them down, put them in a journal. And then that way I've removed it from my mind, my psyche. It's in that book and it's physically being taken out, from my mind into this book. And I can say, right, it's over there on the bedside table in my journal. I can deal with that when I need to deal with that. And that's not today. What I need to be doing is going for a run. It's that sort of stuff. Another thing I've got to do, speaking of the big ticket items, is speaking of work and stuff like that, I need to get this resume done. It's another thing that's hanging over my head. Got to get the resume done. I think I will have a lot more. Work will be a lot easier for me when I know that I am still working towards the new job, the new career, whatever the hell that may be. So I need to figure that out properly as well, but get the resume done. Got to send that in to my boss at the university. He's going to look over it, make sure it's good. Bit nervous about that. It feels like I'm submitting work for my thesis again, and I keep trying to it's got to be a HD quality before I send it in, or else, it's embarrassing and he'll judge me and think I'm an idiot. That's the negative thought process, and that's why I haven't sent this resume along yet. It's probably at the point where it needs feedback and it'll be fine, and then I'll knock it over quickly once I get the feedback, and then I can start pushing those resumes out to, some different companies and businesses and other places in the world, in the working world. But again, the expectations and this expectation that it's going to be garbage, and my supervisor's going to be like, oh, that's right, Elliot was no good at uni. Why on earth do I have him on the team? It's just this sort of stupid thinking that I'm so sick of, but I cannot push back against it unless those fundamentals are in place. So that's the goal moving forward. What else have I got? I actually wrote down some notes for this episode, which is, I don't know if the flow of this episode's going particularly well, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just getting this episode out there will be huge as far as emboldening me moving forward for the rest of this afternoon. So I don't know if it's coming out a bit clunky. You know what? I don't care at this point. I don't care, because it's all about just getting it out there, ticking that box and getting that genuine, organic dopamine hit. Excuse me. The voice has been a bit troubled as well as of late. It's getting to the point where it's getting hoarse just from talking throughout the day now. I don't know, I probably talk too much and maybe I talk a bit too loud as well. But it's a little bit of a concern that the moneymaker is faltering from just talking to people at work. So I don't know, keep that one in mind, because if the moneymaker falters any further, I'm going to have to do something about it, whatever that is. All right, so that's it. So 2 weeks to recalibrate, get locked back into those fundamentals. This isn't a holiday. People keep saying, oh, you're going to go for a way, you're going to go away, get out of Newcastle for a bit. And, maybe I will, but only if it's because the fundamentals have been locked in. That's the only way. This is a working holiday, but I'm very much looking forward to it. And a big part of the reason I'm talking to you guys about this now is accountability. I've been telling a lot of people at work, a lot of friends about my plans and what I want to achieve, because I need to be held accountable, because it's too easy for me to say to myself, you know what, we'll do it tomorrow, whatever, who cares, and the anxiety gets in, and the inner critic and all that gets in the back of my head and starts, yelling from the corner that, it's not important to do, don't worry about it, do it tomorrow. And then again, that negative emotion, even subconsciously, just starts to build because I know I'm not doing what I should be doing. So if I'm going to go away on a little road trip, which I'd love to do, it's got to be in line with the fundamentals. So a big 2 weeks coming up. I'll be telling you all about it, let me tell you, because I need to be held accountable, and you guys will be holding me accountable, and I thank you so much for that. Oh man, this better be a good 2 weeks, because I feel like I've done an episode like this at least once or twice before, but I do have a better feeling about this because I can actually, before I'd come up with these goals, write them down, but I could never really visualize me actually doing it and the benefits it'll bring. I know I know running's a good idea, but I hadn't visualized me actually doing it, and having a bit of difficulty to begin with, but being, there's that word again, emboldened, empowered, moving forward. I've actually sort of visualized this sort of stuff and how these 2 weeks can potentially go. And I think that is going to help a lot with making sure I stay on track and get these things done and get those fundamentals, fair income, locked back in. All right, thank you everybody for listening. My inner critic's telling me this episode sucks, but like I said, I don't care. I'm getting it out there, sticking it to the inner critic. So thank you everybody for listening. If you are enjoying the show, feel free to like, subscribe, give the show a great rating. Good for the algorithm, and you can share the show around with your mates, and you can follow me on Instagram to keep up to date with the 2 weeks progress at elliot.t.waters. All right, the voice is about to go. I better go. Thank you for listening. See you next time.